else? Oh yeah, and I kind of want to talk about Todd Aiken too.
Oh man, I want to talk about Todd
He's
Aiken.
the guy.
No, don't tell him. Don't tell him.
The legitimate
we're
rape
going
guy.
to it. We're going to it.
Oh yeah, all right, ready? Hey everybody, welcome to Guerrilla Radio. This is DJ Jeff. I'm sitting down in the Guerrilla Radio studio with my other two DJs, DJ John and DJ Arya. How's it going, guys?
It's good. Good.
I'm well.
Good to be back. Thanks
Good
for
to
having
be back.
us.
Right on. Well, you guys got the best I got right now, so here we are.
Oh, my agent told
Hey,
me
man.
that you fought tooth and nail to get me on here.
That's not true at all. You guys are, we're definitely both part of the reason why
Yeah, I'm
we
your
should do
agent.
this
I lied to you all
radio
the
show in the
time.
first place. Because you guys are fucking, every time I talk to you, it's so funny. I'm like, why don't we record this anyway?
It's true.
Anyway, we gotta, yeah.
I guess we're
Guys better
holding.
step up now.
Are you saying we're holding cards
Yeah,
here?
yeah, definitely. People are listening.
I've never been a card holder before.
We need to draft up contracts.
Well, we'll see. We'll get there eventually.
All right.
Anyway, we got a great show for you tonight. We were sitting down. We got a few news articles we want to talk about. Guerrilla Radio just came back from Mad Hatter Music Festival this weekend. A very successful endeavor indeed. Mad Hatter is a local music festival. It takes place every summer in Edmonton. It's always a different location, I guess, but it's basically to promote local talent, local
A little
artists.
touch and go with the location this year.
Yeah.
at the last
Yeah,
minute,
definitely.
Which was interesting.
It was, they move it around every year, and that's almost kind of cool. Like, it's like a different kind of different feel to it every year.
There was no love from the county of Leduc, though. That was, that was disappointing.
Yeah.
Duke was a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, if I was the county of Leduc, I would kind of like, not be so picky and choosy if people are showing interest.
Well,
to
I don't
come
think
there.
it was the county that was mad. I think it was the neighbors being farmers in Alberta. They're like, oh, what's going on? Music and drugs in the field? No, I don't think so. And they're just complaining based on that. I don't think it was so much like the county that was a problem because, like they said in their press report, like we're open for business. Like they want people taking advantage of the land in their county because it just benefits them. But they also have to represent the views of their constituents and all that. So, I don't really see it as their fault so much as their hand was forced, and that's the way it went. Fortunately, it was worked out. We were pretty stressed, it was pretty stressful leading up to the event. People thought it was going to be canceled, and that obviously would have been devastating. But it went through, and it was a great time. Like the weather kind of messed it up for the first day, but it was great. I had so much fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. It was a lot of fun, and definitely looking forward to next year. The music festival thing is kind of we just broadcasted one of the stages. It was live all weekend.
Is that archived on the site?
It's not, just because recording hours and hours and hours of all these bands would take way too much hard drive space. Oh, but
Cut together a highlight reel or something?
Yeah, the way it worked is we were trying to set it up, and it was like, well, where's the internet connection? There's oh, there isn't one. So it was a little stressful moment for a bit.
How'd you solve that?
Oh, well, apparently I can stream it right off my cell phone. It can access the internet and get it to my laptop. Whoa, I was blown away.
That is truly mobile.
Yeah, I could it could be broadcasted in the car.
You can strike like a recording ninja anywhere.
I know. You could be broadcasting as a car is driving down the highway.
Actually, speaking of iPhones, Apple was in the news recently because they actually won their technology plagiarism lawsuit
did.
against Samsung.
You know what I really love
What's
about
the story
that?
on that?
Well,
Basically, Apple accused Samsung of stealing their technology that they had patented or whatever, and took it to court and sued them and got awarded $1 billion. And I think that Samsung had to kind of stop production on the things that whatever it was that they were stealing.
Yeah,
I
obviously
don't think
it's
I don't know if it's
If
come out
they
what
found them
exactly
to be
they
guilty,
stole.
they
But
wouldn't be able to use that technology anymore.
what my favorite part was the amount was so Dr. Evil. We won $1 billion.
wow, it's a little bit late for an Austin Powers reference.
You know what? It's
That felt wrong even while
it's
I was
retro
doing it.
chic. Okay,
It's retro chic?
It's called a throwback.
Yeah, I actually was thinking, I wish I knew which it was. It was some story. And it was
Next, we're going to be doing the WhatsApp.
hey, the what's up will never die.
Hey, get on the trolley here.
Yeah.
Come on.
I was reading the newspaper. I wish I remember which one it was, but it was this something happened. And it was $100 billion. That was the amount of money. And I'm like, that's a truly Dr. Evil amount of money. Like,
Well, what was the story?
I know. That's why I don't know why I bring it up.
What, did somebody win this?
It was a lot.
Did
it
they
was
find this in under the sea? You got to have some sort of a context here when you throw out a number like $100 billion quadrillion dollars.
Yeah, I know. It was. I can't really say.
Maybe it was the greatest roll off the rim ever. There's zeros all out the rim.
Well, you know what? Actually, I remember seeing a Pepsi commercial. I don't know, it was 10 years ago or something. And it's we're collect points and you can win $1 billion.
How much
And
Pepsi
in the
are
commercial,
you
they're
gonna
like,
have
no,
to
you
drink?
heard that right, with a B. $1 billion.
You know what I think?
I don't think anyone ever won
Like
that.
anyone who drinks 1 billion Pepsis wins $1 billion.
I think a lot of these prizes that they give away, they don't even exist. They just like say it to get you to buy it
buy Pepsi
because it
and
says
then
you
just no
can
one gets
win.
it.
But then if you talk to the lawyers, they're like, "Oh, you're not going to win."
And like,
But you know,
you could
we
never
just-
you could never really prove it either.
Exactly. Like you can win, but who knows if nobody ever won? And they're just sitting there laughing, like, "Oh man."
Like all they have
that
to do
hilarious.
is if they find out someone's looking into it,
Yeah, but I
they
think
can
you're
just
gonna
give it
know
to someone
something.
then.
Yeah, like, "Oh, here you go."
But isn't
Yeah,
that
there
illegal
was-
to promise a prize and you can't win?
Well, they say you can win. They're not say anyone is going to win, but if we decide to
If we decide there is
not
a
be
winner.
assholes, maybe we'll buy something and give it to you, but we don't have to.
No,
It's
I
called,
bet
maybe
you they
can
do.
win.
I bet you for the most part it's pretty
I
legit.
don't think you can. I think it's false advertising or whatever. But my favorite is how they get like entered to a chance to win something.
Yeah.
It's like you do like
What does that mean?
this horrible thing.
You won a chance to win.
Oh, you know what else is my favorite? The skill testing question. I think
Oh, yeah.
I think winning should be super easy, but then the skill testing question is this like triple integral with like imaginary numbers and a whole bunch of crazy hardcore math and physics in it. And then if you solve that, then you can win.
Yeah, but then just a bunch of math and physics students.
No,
win
there's
every
still like
competition.
chance. You got to like roll it up, but you can roll it up a lot more. And it's like, oh sweet, I want like 11 houses. Oh wait, I have no idea what I'm looking at here with the skill testing thing.
Like I said, I don't think you do that based on false advertising. And speaking of false advertising, the topic I don't want to talk about, but we're gonna have to, is the fucking GOP convention, and that's going on right now.
Ooh.
False advertising.
Was that a segue?
Oh man,
I was, yeah, I had to
that is some stark social commentary in a segue.
It worked out pretty well, though. I have to say.
Well, it is a hot topic right now.
I know, and it's not like I don't want to cover the American election, but it's gonna have to happen. We're gonna have to talk about it because it's gonna be on the news all the time.
We can touch
everywhere.
on it.
I have
have to.
I have a little tangent story about American politics that really amused me last week. I think maybe it's from 2 weeks ago, but Paul Ryan, the hardcore, almost self-parody level right-wing guy, comes out and he says, "Yeah, my favorite band is Rage Against the Machine,"
What?
and almost immediately, like 30
Rage
seconds
Against the
later,
Machine is about Paul Ryan.
30 seconds later, Tom Morello comes out and he says, "Yeah, I have a statement to issue on that. The Machine in Rage Against the Machine
Tom
is
Morello,
literally..."
of course, the guitarist of Rage Against the Machine.
That's right. The machine that we rage against is Paul Ryan,
Yeah.
which is so apt. It's not even to be like throw a singer. He's like literally like one of the most comically
if I was
right-wing
Tom
guys there
Morello and
is.
somebody said that, I'd be offended. Like, as much as I love Rage Against the Machine,
Yeah.
if someone, and if I was working on producing that music, and someone like one of the spokespersons of the people that you're against is like likes your music, I mean, yikes.
Actually, there's I was reading this the other day in Metro. There's quite a history of bands basically denying presidential candidates.
It's a rich American tradition.
The use of their music, and this has already happened multiple times in this election too, because they were using Dee Snider's band, was it Twisted Sister? Or
Yeah.
whatever?
We're not gonna
They're
take
using
it.
"We're Not Going to Take It,"
Yeah.
and he had to come out and say, "You're not allowed to use my song."
You know what the funniest
Because
one
I
is though?
fundamentally disagree with everything you stand for.
America has this hilarious, rich tradition of comically poor choices for political songs that they never even listen to, like Reagan.
Oh yeah,
going
like
with
what's it called?
oh, what's that Bruce Springsteen
Bruce
song?
Springsteen, Born in the USA.
Yeah, Born in the.
Yeah,
Like, did
which
you
is
listen
about-
to the song?
Yeah, you actually
It's
know
about like this bitter veteran that comes back and gets fucked over by the man.
yeah, and like
That
against
happens with
everything he
Bruce Springsteen
thought he was
all the time
fighting
because
for.
Glory Days as well is like people think like, oh yeah, Glory Days, like, oh man,
Yeah.
back in the day when I was getting drunk and partying and all this and that. Listen to that song.
Yeah,
It takes like 3 minutes.
It basically
it's
like,
just by
rips
using
apart your
that, it
Glory
just
Days.
shows
Yeah.
that you don't know what you're talking about. Like
Yeah.
you don't know what
like
song.
you had one job, the guy who had to pick the song. Just listen to this 3-minute song before saying, "Oh yeah, this is it. We got it."
Well, honestly, in all fairness, I mean, you could listen to it and think it's about the USA, being how proud you are. Like you could.
Yeah,
Well, if you listen to the chorus, yeah, but then there's the other parts.
Yeah, so
Kinda ruin it.
the other day I was reading about the Republicans in the election, and they have written out the 2012 platform. It's considered by some that have been writing about it the most extreme right-wing platform ever in U.S. political history.
No way. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the direction we seem
They-
to be going. So I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, like
It's not surprising.
it kind of makes sense because they have to be the anti-liberal, even though there
Right.
aren't any real liberals in the United States.
Well, they're the right wing party,
Yeah, exactly. The extreme
and
right-wing
it's
party.
just natural for them to drift.
And they're infiltrated by a lot of Tea Party representatives as well,
yeah.
which are even more even further right wing. But there's a few things that kind of stand out. Like a lot of it's business as usual. Like they're talking about job creation and basically saying that the best job program is economic growth and letting the market run wild and thereby creating jobs, which it actually, from what I know, doesn't.
Well, that's like central to the Republican belief is that you just let free market economics dictate everything.
Yeah. They're looking to extend the Bush tax cuts of 2001 and 2003, which is kind of par for the course for them. But it's really like the moral issues are really where the things kind of get a little bit terrifying for me. For one, no abortions even in cases of rape and incest.
That's fucked up.
Which, I mean, you see what happens in countries where this happens. It's just going to turn to the back alley abortion.
Like I thought we were ahead of Saudi
It's just like
Arabia
making
on
anything
this.
illegal. Like people are just going to do it anyway.
Gun control is another one. They're saying they oppose any legislation intended to restrict Second Amendment rights, including limiting the capacity of clips or magazines and making assault weapons banned. Which
Like, why do you need
So
an
they're
assault
shutting-
weapon?
they're
which was
cracking
done
down
during
on-
Clinton's administration.
So the
He banned
Republicans
assault
are furthering
weapons.
the Second Amendment.
Well, I mean, you'd think with the Aurora, Colorado, and like what happened there, like that.
No,
like,
I know. I've
why should private citizens just get to have assault rifles? Like if you need to protect your house and you want to have a gun in your house, I guess you can stand behind that.
Well, I know.
But-
And I used
Like,
to
you
be,
don't need to protect your house
you don't
from
need
like
to
a militia
with
of
an
terrorists.
AK-47.
Yeah, I know. I hear
This
that.
isn't. You're not Scarface.
Like,
There's
Die Hard's
there's
not gonna happen.
There's not a crew of thugs with Tech 9s running after you.
You're not going to get die-hearted. That was just a
Well,
movie.
it was like one of the reasons it was put in there is like to have a militia in case the British invaded again.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not going to happen. And I say this as someone who used to be really strongly against the Second Amendment, but now I see it and it's like I'm down with the Second Amendment, like for real.
Owning guns and rifles is
Think about this.
fine,
It
really.
is the second one. You got freedom of speech, and you got guns, and that's like the first. That's the second thing they thought of after you whatever you say whatever you want. If someone says you can't, you can shoot them. And the important part of the Second Amendment is like it's for individual protection against enemies, foreign and domestic. So that when your government, someone tells you what you can't have guns, you have guns. Like that's the point of it.
I think owning the guns part is fine, and owning rifles and handguns or shotguns. But I think some of the specifics, like really over-the-top weapons that are only for, mass murder, like, you know what? You don't need to own those.
No, and I know, and that's where the line gets blurry. Is when you get to like things like machine guns and like
Well, assault
howitzers and
rifle. It's
whatever.
called an assault rifle for a reason.
Well, yeah,
It's not
and
a
like,
defense
but like the
rifle.
problem is at the court level that the Constitution is what the Constitution is. So the people writing it weren't like, oh, what about like machine guns and stuff because they had muskets. But now it's like, well, it's a different question. But the people that are so for it will use the Constitution, which says that they can have it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's hard. So like, I'm not against taking away magazine lengths and stuff. I think that's like all right. But I definitely understand like the guys who are so for the Second Amendment. Like I get where they're coming from.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad we don't have gun ownership encouraged up here, but that's just me. I'm not into it.
Well, I remember. It's from the Michael Moore movie, but they say that per capita there's more guns in Canada than there is in the United States.
Yeah, the problem seems
But
to
the
be gun
United
violence,
States
not so much
has
guns.
220 million more people than we do.
Oh, definitely.
So
Well, it's just as a percentage.
Well, I think it was per capita.
yeah, I realize that, but I'm just saying like that might, even if that's true, it means there's like hundreds of millions more guns in the states.
Right. Yeah. But I mean,
Definitely there's way more.
looking at it internationally, it still doesn't explain why they have such a problem with gun violence when there's lots of guns everywhere, but
Yeah.
it only seems to be a problem there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so continuing on, and the one or two other things that kind of stuck out. Of course, marriage is a huge key point on the platform page here. Basically, they reaffirming their belief that marriage is not a same-sex union. It's between a man and a
Isn't
woman.
that like an anti-love policy?
Yeah, I don't know. I never understand.
I don't get why
no,
they
we're
care.
not down with love. That can't. That
Like,
cannot
why do you
exist.
care? Like, they're
Like,
not going to be gay at you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's not
like-
going to spread. It doesn't become airborne when they get married.
Like, let's say they ruin marriage. Why can't you do the thing
Because
that
it's
you
the
do and
same
be
thing as
happy?
the religious thing. Like, no, it has to be for you, not just for me.
Well, and a lot of these people
Which is
come out
weird
and they
because the
say
religion is really.
they say it threatens my marriage and things like that.
No, I
And
think
it
you
doesn't-
threaten your marriage.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, no one's going to gay you out of being married or
No,
your
really.
kids getting screwed
Well,
up.
it's pretty funny with like oh, gay people will ruin the sanctity of marriage. It's like, yeah, pretty sure heterosexual people did that.
And
I don't think,
the final thing that I just wanted to touch on from this list, which is really interesting, is voter integrity. There's a quote here from the platform that says, "Voter fraud is a political poison," and they're looking for legislation to require photo identification for voting and to prevent election fraud. And what's interesting about that is that there actually is a relatively large percentage of people in the United States that don't have photo ID, that don't drive cars, that don't.
Yeah, young people.
Typically poor people and young people, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't have identification.
So, and when you're talking about that, I mean, the poor is one group that's, if they're going to vote, they're not going to vote Republican because they get they get bent over by these people all the time.
Yeah, but you know what the best part of that story is?
Is that like a Democratic platform, like to go for the poor people? Like, is that one of their like?
Well, it's
their unstated agendas.
They are pumping things like their healthcare policy and things like
social
that.
security programs and things like that. So yeah, I would say there's a direct correlation. But the best part of that story is that the whole premise of legislation, like taxpayer money being spent to draft a legislation about this, is that there have been like 10 cases of fraud in the past 10 years. Or like 3, something like that.
Oh, it's
it's such a complete
the number of voter fraud cases, I think, from the last election was 0.00004%.
Yeah, that's such a huge problem.
It's a blip on the. It's nothing. It's negligible, the difference with voter fraud, and they're making it this big kind of key.
See, like when people talk about corruption in the system, that's kind of what they're talking about right there. Yeah. Like something so blatant, such a political
you can take something
move
so redundant and
to like further your cause.
Yeah.
If that's not corruption, then what is it?
Are there more points on the GOP?
There's a few things, but it's all pretty par for the course.
One thing I am surprised to see.
Repealing the healthcare is another one, and I read a big thing in an article about border fencing that wasn't very detailed, so I didn't know how accurate it was. But.
That's an interesting one.
Well, the one thing I was surprised that they wanted policies to audit the terrorism. That's something that I didn't think I'd ever see the Republicans.
Ron Paul's baby.
Yeah, Ron Paul's thing. Like, why are the Republicans supporting that? I mean, unless it's just something that they know will never get passed or something like that.
Yeah, or maybe it's something they think they can throw to it when they get kind of tossed you're too right wing or you're too conservative or whatever. They can say, "We'll see, we're going to audit the Fed."
Man, I think even if they audit the Fed, and they find
I think that would really be a shocking thing.
It's just they're not going to do anything about it. It's we found these. Anyways, so back to what we were talking about here.
I think it's
like
one
that's
of the things
where it's
that
gotten.
The books of the Federal Reserve are so cooked that if you just audit them, like anybody audits them, they'll be like, okay, there's some serious problems here. I think it's one of those things,
I think it's going to be like like JFK getting shot. It's like, oh yeah, no, it was pretty crazy that it happened, but we're not gonna do anything about it.
But yeah. So anyway, basically, if Mitt Romney wins, I'm kind of terrified.
Well, I think honestly, it's going to be the same no matter who wins. Like they're both playing to the same interest groups. I mean,
fair enough.
Whoever wins, it's just going to be.
Actually, Romney,
it's going to be the same. Afghanistan's still going to be fought. I really want to see these debates between Romney and Obama because it's like, I think we should to stimulate the economy, we should deregulate the financial industry, and let investment do its thing, and let the free market dictate our prosperity. And then Obama will be like, I disagree with my opponent. I think the economy cannot be stimulated that way. It's through government spending, so we have to deregulate the financial sector. And they'll be saying the same thing no matter what. And it's just, and then it's going to devolve into, I think abortion should be illegal.
Oh yeah, those are going to be banner issues.
And it's like, because social issues are what divide the people, whereas on the real, the foreign policy and economic issues.
One big way this has already come to the forefront is through this Todd Akin thing in Missouri.
Yeah.
Where he said that when in cases of legitimate rape, legitimate rape, no fraudulent rape.
Because there's the ones that are like on the line, and it's like I don't know, that one was
like she's screaming no and crying, but her eyes say yes. So yeah, in cases of legitimate rape, a woman's body has defenses that kick in to take care of that. I think was the word.
By the way, that's like the worst superpower ever. Like abortion woman, you can rape me all you want. Yeah. Guess what?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
Too bad she doesn't have an anti-rape defense.
Well, she has a biological anti-rape defense.
And then here's the best part: Todd Akin on the House Science Committee.
Yeah, House Science Committee.
Almost as if orchestrated by a comedian.
And it's interesting.
No, you
can't. It's interesting too because Mitt Romney actually apparently asked Todd Akin to drop out of the race after this.
Yeah, well,
and he's refusing to, and he's saying he's going to stay in it, and he still thinks he's going to win.
Oh well.
And
those guys win every year.
I read a quote from a housewife or something in Missouri, and she was saying that she supports him even more now because of his Christian values than she did before.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. And like, it was just kind of like I think someone kind of like maybe they caught her off guard and they were like, "So, what do you think of this Todd Aiken thing?" And she's like, "What do you mean? What happened?" And they tell her, and she's like, "Oh, well, he's a good Christian.
God bless America.
He's a good Christian."
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
It's sort of like actually, you know, what's a good story from a while back? The Chick-fil-A guy.
Oh yeah, the anti-gay restaurant.
Which to me that was very interesting because look, as much as I hate the sentiment of what he's talking about, ultimately he's just the guy expressing his opinion, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's true he's putting some of the money that they're generating into like anti-gay causes, but that is freedom of speech, right? I mean, it's not freedom of speech because you like hearing it. Like it's freedom of speech because people should say what you don't want to hear.
Yeah, just to me, it's just a terrible business maneuver because you're going to lose gay and straight clientele.
Yeah,
because they're going to be straight clientele. That, like if I went to Chick-fil-A, I don't even really know what Chick-fil-A is, but if I went to Chick-fil-A and I liked it or whatever, and I was a regular customer, and then I heard that, I would stop going there.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, to me, it's just as a business maneuver, it kind of didn't ring. True.
Well, I mean, maybe it's in the numbers though. Maybe it will attract enough people of their audience that.
I don't know. And Tim Thomas of the Boston Bruins stood by them and came out and supported them.
That guy is hardcore right wing. He refused to go to the White House.
Yeah, he refused to go to the White House.
Like, I'm not going to
and he's
no
like,
Obama.
He's from Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
Like the heart of devastation. He's like, nope, don't support the federal government. Not going. And he's the only American on the team. Everyone else was like Canadian, Russian.
I think he's just super hardcore right wing, not so much the government.
Yeah, but way to go, Tim Thomas. I was so happy when I heard that. I was like,
well, I guess it comes down. I guess it comes down to his reasons. Yeah. Either way, very ballsy move. Yeah. But I mean, the other interesting thing about the Chick-fil-A guy is, to me, the most interesting about it is that it demonstrates a point that a lot of people forget. Look, a lot of problem we have with this guy is that we don't agree with his personal politics, and we think, he should not bring it into his business. But if you look at the flip side of that, a lot of these people who are like, look, if you're a CEO of an oil company, why don't you use your personal moral judgment to not, ruin the environment? But that's the same reason you can't say that to the oil guy, because you're essentially saying use your moral judgment. Well, that's what the Chick-fil-A guy is doing. He's using He's not being a bad person. He truly believes that God is against homosexuality, so he's being a better person by doing everything in his power to,
I don't know if you know that for sure.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah, that's,
you don't know this guy personally. He could be a total bigot.
He said, homosexuality is against the way of life as laid out, by the Bible, and da-da-da-da-da. So that's his angle. Like, he has been very vocal about it, that it's personal choice to defend the Christian way of life by using his power as the CEO of Chick-fil-A.
It makes good news, Now, bringing it a little bit more close to home, I was reading an article in the Globe and Mail that says that Alberta is expected to run a $2-3 billion deficit this year, which is 3 times as large as they expected it to be. Interesting, hey? Like, Alberta's running a deficit.
Where's that oil money going?
Yeah, where is that oil money going?
We should be living like Saudi Arabians with like golden Mercedes and Ferraris.
We should be rich as shit
everywhere.
We as rich as we already are. Like what the fuck? There's no way that Alberta has a deficit.
Where's that money going?
Yeah, it goes to Wall Street and the oil industry.
Yeah,
that's where it goes, obviously.
Because most of those resources aren't owned by Alberta anymore.
Yeah. No, they're all
Thank you, Ralph Klein.
Yeah, and so they reap huge profits off our resources, pay like a lowest royalty rate in the world for a giant oil supply. Like less than like Nigeria.
You would think that because Canada's so stable, they would have them by the balls to be like, look, you could go to fucking Libya.
Yeah, and try to get some oil, maybe.
Or, like, hello, we have a table for you right here.
Really.
Welcome to the tar sands, sir. For 2?
Yeah, for 2.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, Alberta supplies the United States with more oil than, like, Saudi Arabia and Iraq and Iran and Libya and Qatar.
Number 2, baby,
UAE
number 2.
Combined. Like, that's more oil than all of that.
I like the dramatic setup for that. This, and this combined.
Yeah, it is. It's true.
Emphasis.
And, I know. And, like, I meet Americans and, like, don't even know where Edmonton is, and it's, like, the city that keeps their house warm. Like, They're like, oh, yeah, what's Edmonton? It's like, oh, just city gives you more oil than Saudi Arabia.
People in Texas,
like, no big deal or anything.
People in Dallas, people are out to be real because a lot of oil companies are just directly going back and forth.
Yeah,
engineering, oil, gas
Texas
fields,
and Alberta
everything
are very much linked, and they're linked by the biggest pipeline on earth. Is that Keystone Pipeline? It goes from Fort Mac to Houston, and then from Houston it goes on to the market of the world. So you can buy like Alberta oil, crude oil, in like some island country. Like, what the
In a
fuck?
deluxe bottle with like a
Yeah,
free,
exactly.
free sampler on the side.
Yeah, and it's like, there's no way that the government should be paying the tab of these guys. Like, oh, we're at a deficit. Hey guys, guess we're raising taxes. Like we gotta pay for that.
Yeah, Alberta is particularly soft, even on things like carbon emissions. Like it is so. I think it's something in Alberta. The fee is something like $14 a ton, and economically speaking, in order for them to care, it has to be something like 300. So they just like it doesn't matter. They can like emit as much as they want, and it's so cheap to pay the offset fine that they're like, oh yeah, okay, sure, great. Here's
Yeah,
it.
well, that's
let me
like-
look in the couch. All right, get out of
When
my
I took
face.
this resource economics class in university, it was like, oh, it's the way it is. It's like there's like fines for breaking rules, and at the head office they decide like, if the cost of the fine is less than doing business and then getting caught and paying the fine, then they just break the rules routinely.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it's dollars and cents? Why wouldn't they do that?
Yeah, and they're
Yeah,
like, well,
exactly.
it's less painful to just do it.
It's like the famous Ford case where they didn't recall a car because they calculated payout of lawsuits would
Oh
be
my
less
God, like
than
that's
calling it
insane.
back. I thought that was the Ford Pinto, like
Yeah,
the one
it
that
was the Pinto.
spontaneously
Well, it
combusted,
got rear-ended because the way the gas tank was positioned would just explode.
which is like the funniest tragedy ever. Like someone slowly like backs into you and it's like whomp, car just goes up in flames.
it just like explodes. Like and that's what it goes. And the same thing happened with Toyota earlier this year, last year, or whatever. When
Yeah.
the thing wasn't working, they had to recall like $1 billion.
They brought a lot of shame to their families in Japan.
I think lots of suicides were committed over that one.
Oh,
That was, is that insensitive? Well, it's
a
true.
little harakiri going on.
Yeah. I guess
Okay, that's
that's
racist.
a little much. Okay.
we need a token Asian person in the studio to not
Yeah,
make it
we-
racist.
Yeah, we-
so what do you think, Toshi?
You're pretty close.
Very,
Well,
very funny.
Persian's basically
We're somewhat
Asian.
multicultural.
Okay, all right. So I'll bring some international cred here. I shall declare
Asian
all.
minor is close to Asian.
I will declare all accidental racism. Okay.
Is Iran an Asian minor? Or just Saudi Arabia and Yemen?
I think it's right on the border.
It's right
so
on the
you
border,
could
yeah.
take your pick. It's like a
Okay, so
tomato
you're
tomato
in
type of
both
thing.
Asians. So there you go.
I represent.
You are
Asia.
Asian correspondent.
Oh, thank you for the promotion. I thought I was still at the junior level. Well, I'll take it.
Okay.
I can definitely step up to the plate, Mr. Williams.
Okay, well, I expect to see some good Asian coverage from you in the future, and when we make jokes, it's okay.
Can we do like some kind of Hello Kitty expose?
Well, it would have to be some sort of a terrorist angle having Hello Kitty.
Well, I'm just assuming
You got to
that's
cover all
what
like
Hello
Asian,
Kitty is.
Asian stereotypes. It could be. Maybe they haven't activated them yet. Like in like 5 years, they'll activate all Hello Kitty and they'll
Yeah.
like take over the world.
That'll be it.
Yeah, there's another article about in Edmonton about that teacher who gave out the zero.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Call me old fashioned,
Yeah.
but if you're a fucking idiot, your grades should reflect that. Because when you're working, no one's going to say, Timmy, you get a bronze star. They say
Check minus.
security. They don't even talk to you. They just say security, escort this fucking idiot out of here because he's fired. 'cause
Well,
he's a
I've been
fucking
talking
idiot.
to a
Yeah, but he's
couple
a
of
kid. He's not like some 40-year-old living in a cube like whole life. Like,
Yeah, so what? Is zero that hard to handle emotionally that
I
an
don't know.
8-year-old
I don't
is
know.
going to
Maybe
get?
this made this kid just wig out over a zero and
Good.
whatever.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I've
maybe
been
they should
talking
use
to
that
a
as
couple of
motivation.
teachers about this recently.
Yeah,
Because I
that's
don't. I agree that you should be able to give out a zero, but and the argument against it, or the argument for the anti-zero policy, is that a zero is no way to evaluate what a child's capable of, which I do agree with. But I think it has to be handled more on a case by case basis. You can't just have a blanket policy. Like if this kid, his mom's dead and his dad's an alcoholic and stuff like that, and shit happens to kids, and these things happen in their lives where it's just like, you know what, I can't do that homework and I can't do that because I'm struggling just
Well,
to
what
get by
about the
right now.
Those are
responsibility?
extenuating
though?
Those are extenuating circumstances where you can be like, yeah, okay, I'm not giving this kid a zero. But if the kid's just a little asshole
Yeah, but
who's just like,
policy can't-
fuck you, man, I'm not doing my goddamn homework, like, that kid deserves a zero, frankly.
But what about the responsibility of when you're, the training for it rather? Because when you're at work, if you're, you are in the situation with alcoholic father and whatever, your boss is not going to care. You're going to get fired.
but these
And
are
which
kids,
one?
like, they're
these are
they're
kids.
Yeah, but which one's better? Not having ever experienced that until you're 25, or experiencing it a little bit and being able to handle it when it comes at you?
Well, I hear you on that point. Like, there is definitely this generation of kids that are just so expecting so much.
Also, when you get a
There's a
zero, isn't
flaw
that
to that
shocking?
training
Like, is anyone shocked when they get a zero? Like, I was expecting 95. I am crushed now.
Can you give out 1%? Like, is that still okay?
If it was worth 1%,
And then you go like, well, it's like, oh, I'm not.
That's
giving
not really
zero.
the point, though. Like, First of all, giving a kid a 0 in a situation like that just to teach them a lesson can really fuck up their future because a lot of these things are based on standardized tests and numbers.
In elementary school.
What is the situation?
In high school.
Why are we assuming it's
who cares
elementary
about high
school?
Nothing important happens in high school in regards with your future. Like it does not matter. It's more like
if you want to go to a university, it does.
Yeah.
No, you go upgrade. You go to first of all, you're not going to fuck up everything. We're talking about getting a 0, which is an instance where you didn't do anything at all. You didn't. Hey, you leave my sorry past out of this.
Yeah, just saying. Not everyone can.
What I'm saying is, if you get a 0, that's not going to be every day. It's going to be like the one day that you missed a test or exam or something. So it's not going to fuck up your future. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I just think the true irony in this whole situation is that the teacher's getting fired for him getting a 0. I guess that kind of makes sense. Maybe it was just bad teacher. Maybe he shouldn't be getting a 0.
It would be funny if it had nothing
I
to do
speak
with that.
as a kid who got a lot of bad grades at school.
Wouldn't it be funny if the guy got fired because it had nothing to do with it? Oh, no, he raped a couple of kids. But he also gave out a 0. But,
I don't think it'd be funny if this guy raped a couple of kids.
Well, you know what? Just work with the premise here, okay? It would have been funny if it had nothing to do. Okay, I think you get the point.
Yeah. So I don't know. If you give the grade based on what's done. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't do very good on my projects, whatever, but I definitely handed them in.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say.
I get if you don't hand it in and you just miss it, that's a 0.
If you hand it in and get a 0, then
okay, that's bad. That's traumatizing.
You've achieved a new level.
If you stayed up all night, and you're like, oh my god, I put my essence into this, and it's like this was literally worth nothing.
Yeah,
that would be crushing.
As long as you put your name down, that's 5%, right? There you go.
I
think showing up to the class gets you at least partial.
Yeah,
credit.
so that's what I'm saying. A test, exam, or whatever is different than a project, I guess. But if you just don't do it or don't hand it in, then that's
fuck
a 0.
you.
Then that's a 0.
Yeah.
But if you do it, then you don't get a 0. I agree with that.
Well, I would hope you don't get a 0 because that would be just pathetic.
I can compromise on that. You know what? If you did it,
that's why group work is always the best because you could always never get a 0. That's awesome. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I guess we got to settle with 80 because we had that one
projects
0.
Then,
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the mics went off this time.
Well, I guess we'll see.
I guess we will see.
It'd be funny if they were all off.
The entire time, none of this got
slight noises in the background.
Yeah, it's just been white noise on Guerrilla Radio for the last half hour.
Why are they trying to make us work so hard to hear this?
Yeah,
I just want to listen to the show.
All right. Well, it was great having you guys down for another great episode of Guerrilla, the Guerrilla Show. Coming up, we're doing a broadcast from the Alberta Conservatory College of Arts, the Alberta College of Arts.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
It is a festival is a thing called the Edmonton Undiscovered. It's a showcase of local talent that's been organized into bands and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it'll be going on September 15th, and we'll be there to
Sounds
broadcast
cool.
the show. Yeah. Should be good. And I'm pretty excited about it. Anyway, I'm DJ Jeff, and I'd like to say thanks to DJ Aria and DJ John.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to
problem.
have you in there. It's been a blast, and we'll be back. We'll be back soon, I'd say, in a week or two, hopefully, and we'll do it all again. Hopefully next time we'll have.
We won't make you wait too long.
Yeah, we won't be too long.
Don't worry. We're
That's
coming back.
We'll be back. All right, guys. Well, that's been great. Thank you very much from Guerrilla Radio. We'll see you next time. Peace.
There's no outro?
Did we do an outro last
We can do an outro. We did it last time.
Bass, you're too slow.
I was trying to go for something down tempo.
There's music playing in the background. Fucking Leah texting. She's like, I can't really hear you guys.
What?
You know.
Why was there music playing?
That's fine. We will post it and it will be properly. The music was too loud, I guess.
Yeah. Sucks.
One of these days.